This episode is an oddity. You're in the Playhouse. Welcome to the Playhouse. I'm Uncle Paul, and it's time for our very special hellos. Hello to Ron Martin, Stan Starr, Polly Hewitt, Patricia, Lux Furlong, Records and Trains, John Melillo, Andy and Tom of Two Legs, Ed Katzovision, Mark Williams, Bob Einstein, Ruby and Queenie, Rosie, Dave Sundstrom, Sideshow Tink, Greg the Record King, Jerome Luby, Matthew Street, Joe Mayo, Mark Moose and Elena, Beret, Peyton, Bookburger, Joel Swagman Reviews, and of course, Creepy Classics. Now, if you'd like a special hello, or you'd like to dedicate a special hello to someone special in your life, please leave it in the comments below, and we'll say hello in a future episode. But that's our very special hellos for today. Well, in episode 17 of the Playhouse, which was called Classic TV Vinyl Albums Are the Soundtrack of Our Lives, we showed soundtrack vinyl albums from sitcoms or other rare shows of the day, like The Munsters and The Addams Family. Now, those are quite fun, but sometimes we joked that they aren't really quite a listen. They're just better to just have as cover art. Some of them actually are behind me a little bit. But today, we're going to expand upon that we talked about again in episode 17. We're going to show you some odd 45s that have been issued over the years, and with picture sleeves. We want to start, of course, what do we always start with, Playhouse members? The Beatles. Now, this record came on Diamond Records in late 1964. Now, this is what they call a break-in record. And you're going to hear exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this is by Ed Solomon, and this is called The Beetle Flying Saucer, and on Diamond Records. And we have the RCA Victor all beamed up. Now I love to show a needle drop here on the Playhouse. So if everything works properly, we're going to actually play a little bit of this record, which is a first here at the Playhouse. Here we go. Watch this. Now this is The Beetle Flying Saucer by Ed Solomon, late 1964.
Tonight we have a really big show for you, because live on our stage, The Beetle Flying Saucer Landing. Now, stepping out of the flying saucer, here come the Beatles. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, now that's where we're gonna stop it. But I'm sure Playhouse members realized right away, which was what was very unique about this particular record, is that it uses the original Beatle recordings on throughout what they call a break-in record. And again, the reason they called it a break-in record, the artist Dickie Goodman in the 70s was very popular for this. He did a song that went top 10, I believe, called Mr. Jaws, about the Jaws phenomena around the movie, it's 1976, 77, where you would be like a DJ and talk and then play little excerpts of a song that would answer the question that you were inquiring to about. So that's what they call a DJ break-in record. But I found that one extra fascinating because, again, it uses the original Beatle recordings, which usually you really couldn't get away with. But I'm sure in late 1964, and a lot of them were from the VJ catalog, actually, that they used, which we know had not gone back to Capitol at that point. All right, so here we go with some odd 45s as promised, but a lot of them have picture sleeves. Now this is Kathy Garver, Lem, the Orphan Reindeer, backed with Opus Lem. This was on Aquarian Records. All right, so a lot of Playhouse members may recognize her, she actually is on a commercial on right now. is about life insurance, I believe. But her biggest claim to fame was she was on the Family Affair sitcom done by Don Fedderson, who also produced My Three Sons in the late 1960s with Buffy and Jody. She was Sissy, with Brian Keith. And so she made a Christmas record called Lem the Orphan Reindeer. She is so cute, though. And I think everyone had a crush on Sissy. You could write to the Kathy Garver fan club. All right. So then we have Walter, if we're going to do some Christmas ones first. Walter Brennan, of course, from Real McCoy's fame, doing White Christmas. Ah, a classic. And we'll just let this spin on the Victrola here. Let's do another needle drop. Here we go, watch. Ah. We'll just let that play. We'll put some of them, let them spin. Walter Brennan, that one. All right, now this is another Beetle oddity. This was on Atco Records, which again is the label that's kind of known, famous for having the Tony Shelton, the H.E. Suite coming out on Atco. But this is Ringo Bells by Three Blonde Mice. This is kind of like a takeoff on Alvin and the Chipmunks. But Ringo Bells. I think that this is a real cute novelty. For those that collect Beatle novelty records, just like the one we started with. Here's Bruce Springsteen, live at Bedrock, featuring Meet the Flintstones. Little fun joke on Bruce Springsteen, of course. As the Flintstones would always do, they'd take a celebrity and they'd make a name out of them. So, and now, this should have been, should they ever made these? Gabe Kaplan, or of course on the picture sleeve, he's known as Gabriel Kaplan, doing Up Your Nose. Of course, Gabe Kaplan, famous for being on Welcome Back Kotter as Mr. Kotter. This is on Elektra Records. Look at that picture sleeve. If anybody needs a picture sleeve of Gabe Kaplan, seek this one out at your local flea market. And now we love Jerry Lewis. So actually, he was a pretty good singer at times. So anyway, we threw this in though. Jerry Lewis, because I love the title. Jerry Lewis Just Sings. You know, he does Birth of the Blues, Bye Bye Baby. All right, sticking with some sitcoms. We got Patty Duke, her very first record. And Patty Duke sings Don't Just Stand There, back with Everything But Love on the United Artists label. Now you see, United Artists produced the Patty Duke show. So a lot of times, this also happened to a lot of Columbia stars. If you were on a show, then they kind of like, oh, you have to make a record. So then they could like double dip into your contract. I know that happened. Actually, we have her somewhere. This happened to like here, Sally Field on the Cold Gems label. Now you see Cold Gems, which is a very popular label for monkey collectors. If you have a monkey record from that period, this is where the record label that it's on. That stood for Columbia and Screen Gems. And here's the little Screen Gems logo that you would always see at the end of the sitcoms and the shows. So if you were in one of those shows, generally then they made you also record a record. I know Sally Field she didn't believe that she could sing, did not want to make an album. And I know we showed the album of this as well, that you see, it's readily found at collector shows more often than not. In our previous, when we were doing, again, soundtrack TV albums in episode 17 of the Playhouse, but this is the rarer 45 picture sleeve that came out. Some songs, of course, from the album. And, oh, we love the Flying Nun here at the Playhouse. Love so many of these. Okay, well, we talked about Soupy Sales in episode 25, but we love Soupy Sales. It's a nice picture sleeve, pie in the face, and Soupy Says on the Reprise label, which we talked to. This was founded by Frank Sinatra, the Reprise record label, one of the few artists to take control and have create his own record label. Here's Ted Knight on Ranwood Records. In the Mary Tyler Moore days, it's Ted Baxter. Hi guys, he says on this picture sleeve. This is, don't know how many this sold, but this is it's pretty funny. All right, this is great. Here's Carol O'Connor doing Can We Talk It Over and Sweet and Lovely on A&M Records. And also, this is an EP actually, standing for Extended Play. And I believe, yes, and Remembering You is on this record. Now, a little trivia here. Now, at the end of All in the Family, there was a little theme that would play over the rolling credits. That was, if you look on the credits as well, Remembering You, without any lyrics though. Well, Carol O'Connor, we all know that how the opening started with Archie and Edith at the piano, but always at the end you just heard the instrumental of this written song, Remembering You. So this is the 45 where he sings that song, but with the lyrics. Always kind of like that little tune. Like I said, it was very popular. Always, for the entire run of All in the Family, that song played over the credits of every episode. Here's I'm in Love with a Bunny by Paul Hampton. I don't know who Paul Hampton is, and please leave it in the comments if you do. But for some reason, we like that picture sleeve. All right, here's Richard Chamberlain, the theme from Dr. Kildare. Very popular show, with music arranged and conducted by David Rose on the MGM label. Rather nice picture sleeve. And of course, then we have Vincent Edwards, star of the TV show Ben Casey, sings Don't Worry About Me on Decca Records. And before it even came out, they knew it would be a new hit, because they put that right on the picture sleeve. So they were banking on that this was going to be a big hit. Well, there are so many, of course, of these fun records to collect, and you could find them relatively inexpensive, and they're definitely generally inexpensive, meaning less than, you find them at a garage sale for maybe 50 cents, or maybe if you're at a collector's show, a few dollars. Sometimes if you're at a collector's show, the picture sleeve adds, as you know, a lot of value to a record when you're searching it out. Well, now it's time to check the comments bowl. And you know how to be in the comments bowl. That's all you have to do is leave us a comment, and we'd be so thankful. And perhaps your comment will be read. Now, these are at random. We put a bunch in the comments bowl. But I really don't know which one we're going to pick out. And this is about episode 4, The Beatles Trash to Treasure. And our member Jerome Luby commented that he loved the Huck and Yogi soap, and that he, Yogi, and Boo Boo go back 64 years. Well, thank you, Jerome, and thank you so much for being such a loyal Playhouse viewer. And if you want to be in the comments bowl, well, that's all you got to do is subscribe and comment, like, and share. All right, please do that. It certainly helps the Playhouse grow, and we really need to do that, and we appreciate you viewing and joining the Playhouse. It's always free to subscribe, so please subscribe. It would mean so much to us. But for now, the Playhouse is closed. Thanks, Joe Friday.